Not responsible for the views and opinions expressed by its presenters or guests.
That's us.
J-Air presents a wide variety of views and opinions, which is to the benefit and purpose of community radio.
The right stuff.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I have just assumed your genders. It's Harry and Rabbi Pesach back in the studio.
Good evening, Harry. How are you tonight?
Baruch Hashem, Rabbi, how have you been?
I'm a bit tired, but I'm now buzzed. I've got the adrenaline running for our show tonight.
Coursing through your veins.
Coursing through your
Yes,
veins.
now we've actually missed the last couple of weeks. Last week because of
I can hear radio.
Purim. I don't know.
Can you hear radio in the
I
background?
can hear something in the background, but I don't know where it's coming
Oh,
from. And
it's coming from my phone.
Oh my
My
goodness.
gosh.
Oh my
That
goodness.
was us live 30 seconds delay.
So anyway, we missed last week because of Purim.
How good was Purim? Harry was,
was-
phenomenal on Purim night.
Thank you.
So good.
It was. Let me tell you.
Susie Moses saw
For all
us.
the
Thank you,
yes,
Susie.
for all the speeches before we actually got going,
Yeah.
like with thanking the staff and thanking these people and those people and everything for putting it together. Let me tell you, Tam and the Rebbitzin put that whole thing together like 48 hours beforehand.
They were doing a great job.
It was looking like it was going to be an absolute disaster. And then the Rebbitzin says, oh, by the way, you have to MC. And I was just too scared to find out what would happen if I said no.
Well, I'm very proud of
But
you.
thank you very much for the
I'm
feedback.
very proud of Tammy and the Rabbi and Rebbitzin.
They did
I
an
think-
amazing job.
Amazing, brilliant, lots of fun. And and next time, we'll bring our own drinks, and it'll cost a whole lot cheaper. We'll just put some punch on every table or something.
I tried one of those cocktails.
Yeah.
I think they called it a Windex. I don't know what it was, but
It was a martini,
not
Harry.
being-
Don't you know a martini?
not being an alcoholic, I really don't know what makes for a good cocktail. And whatever it was in that glass clearly wasn't it to my palate.
The problem was you didn't get dressed up in your 80s costume. That was a big
I
problem.
did. I dressed up as a I was dressed. I was channeling Burt Reynolds from Smokey and the Bandit 2.
Yes, I could see that.
See?
Except you didn't have your buttons undone a bit so we could see the hair on your chest.
Yeah, and I didn't grow a moustache, especially for the occasion. But the reason we missed the week before was because we were both a bit.
Have we missed 2 weeks in a row?
We missed 2 weeks in a row because we were both agreed that we were just too done in because I had actually been working that day and you were down at a winery.
I had worked.
Tell us about that.
130 hours over 2 weeks, I think, or 140, or some ridiculous amount. The winery's so much fun.
So you actually learned to make your own
gosh.
wine.
I am now. Is it a vigneronner or something? With kosher wine, I actually have to step up to the plate and actually do the work. And the winemaker, he actually takes 20 steps back and says, "Do this, do that. I can't touch anything, so you have to do it all."
Yeah, so did you have to wash your feet before you jumped in the barrel, or that all just adds to the?
No, they now have
flavour,
multi-million-dollar equipment from Italy, the latest stainless steel presses, and
So you don't get to stomp on the grapes anymore.
I know, I missed out. Don't worry, we got plenty splashed by the grapes.
Yeah.
Don't worry, it was good fun. It's been good fun, and I'm really enjoying it. When it comes,
Is
tell
this
you what,
is this part of a course?
no.
like-
We're making as a mashgiach. I'm doing this.
Right. So you're making your own vintage.
No, it's not mine. I'm helping someone else do it, but I'm not going to release the name and everything and all the details until I actually make sure that it's a good vintage.
So we'll then have to wait how many years?
We'll have. Oh no,
'Cause isn't the deal
no, we
with
should be able
wine-
to tell pretty quickly. Actually,
Okay, because
It's
isn't
already
the deal
started
with
to
wine
turn.
that you've got to let it sit for a certain amount of time, and the longer it sits, the better it gets until such time as it becomes vinegar?
that's
or?
true. So right. So it's a couple of interesting things. The sugars. It's when you taste those grapes, like you and I have grapes from the supermarket, whatever. They're nice. These grapes are like, you can imagine those kind of Roman things of being fed these luscious grapes. They are juicy. They are sweet. They're like almost like no grapes you've ever tasted before. Full of sugar. And all those sugars over the course of, say, about 2 weeks get broken down into the alcohol. And so now we're starting to get a taste of the actual wine itself.
I mean, if people actually knew what alcohol was, they'd probably never touch it.
Why?
Well, effectively, because what happens, the sugars are broken down by bacteria. And alcohol,
we actually put yeast in there.
That's right.
Yep.
And alcohol is what the bacteria excretes as a waste product.
Okay.
For the sugar. So
too much information.
So effectively,
even I didn't want to know that.
Effectively, when you're sitting there going, "Oh, this is a lovely drop. I could drink 3 more bottles of this."
It's yeast fart.
It's bacteria poo.
Right.
That's what alcohol is.
The one of the vats that we put it into almost exploded. That was pretty funny. They said, "Yeah, you better come tomorrow. We think you should come pretty quickly."
Why would a vat explode?
Well, it has to let off carbon dioxide,
right?
And the vat was kind of a bit blocked up.
It was sealed.
It was a bit too sealed, and
right.
But thankfully it all turned out all right.
Yep.
Have you heard that joke? Have you heard that joke from Eddie Murphy in Coming to America, where he says, "Taste the soup."
Yeah.
Taste the soup.
Aha.
And what's the answer?
Where's the spoon?
Yeah, where's the fork?
Aha.
Where's the spoon? Where's the spoon?
Aha.
I had that moment about half an hour ago. I'm looking to get us on Facebook on the live stream.
Yeah.
And I can't get the damn camera working. Right? The live stream of the video was not working. And it reminded me, if you call up support, computer support, the first thing they do, what's the first question they ask you?
I don't know. I don't call computer support.
No, the first question they ask you is it plugged in? It's not even, is it turned on? Is it plugged in? And so I went and had a look at the cord. Guess what? The cord was unplugged.
It's amazing, but it's amazing how many people seem to come into this studio and just patchka around and then not like, if they were your kids, you would be going absolutely mental at them.
Stop touching everything.
Look, there's, I don't know, however many presenters, however many people sit behind this panel on a weekly basis. That's fine.
Yep.
But when you're finished, put it back the way you found it. Instead of leaving it to Rabbi Pesach to sit down at the computer to start getting everything ready for the show, to go
swearing.
Hold on. I mean, the words I heard come out of this rabbi's mouth.
Boy.
You
can believe it.
Most
people I know can believe it.
You can tell he's a Baal Tshuva. But,
Let me tell you, by the way, a good little tip. Alt-Shift changes the language from Hebrew back to English.
Someone set the computer to Hebrew and left it that way.
How do you get it
Who
back?
does that?
Israelis,
yeah.
Yep.
I'm not there. This is no longer my problem.
Shall we go to a break and then we'll start with our first topic?
Okay, let's do that.
Enjoy listening to J-Air? Support us and become a member by visiting our website, j-air.com.au.
Let's talk about athletes quickly.
Okay.
There's
a number of athletes to talk about.
Yeah, I was actually shocked today to see Ash Barty's pulling out. I said to Rochelle, didn't she she just won the Australian Open?
Yeah.
Didn't she just win the Australian Open?
Yeah.
And now she's retiring.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think Susie Moses, she said online that apparently she's retiring so she can have a family or whatever.
Okay.
Whatever it is. But, okay, good luck to her.
Yeah.
I mean,
What's
I want to have an opinion on it, but I know that you're not necessarily liking the fact that everyone has to have their own opinion and political commentary from all spheres and walks of life. So other athletes have their political opinions. Like who's the athlete, the tennis player, not the Spanish, the American girl. You were saying before that the reason you wanted to talk about this was there was an
Oh,
athlete.
yeah, because I wanted to talk about Naomi Osaka.
Right. What was the deal with Naomi Osaka?
She just keeps having these breakdowns at major international sporting events, and what gets me is she's being applauded for doing so out in public.
Oh, she's having breakdowns.
She's having
I thought she was
breakdowns.
making political commentary
No,
about...
she's not making any political
about
commentary.
how the stress is, it's all too much for her, and
Well, it
isn't
probably,
that what she's saying?
It probably is, and she probably should retire, like, Ash
Like, if
Barty
that's how
has.
she's
If that's-
feeling-
if that's how you're feeling, if you can't cope with the pressure,
get the hell out.
that's exactly it. Dealing with the pressure is what adults do.
Has she really had another breakdown?
She had a breakdown at some tournament. I don't know. We've missed
Isn't she
2
only
weeks. I
about
had it in my
19 years
notes.
old or something?
I don't know how old she is. Regardless, that's like all these.
Hello, Rochelle's watching. Hello, Rochelle.
Well, your wife is better than mine right now. But yeah, all these sportsmen, they're playing out their personal lives in the public sphere.
Yeah.
You know what? It's your job to play the sport. If you can't handle the pressures of that job, go and get a different job.
And I
But
wonder
don't
how she
expect
would feel.
Me to
Yeah.
to applaud you and commend you for how brave you're being because you're prepared to have a breakdown. No, clearly the job is getting to you. It is having a negative impact on your life. Go and do something else.
I'm going to get...
But Ash Barty, she's decided to pull the pin. You know what? She's number one right now, yeah?
Right.
So
something like that.
that's it. She can't, let's be honest, she can't achieve any more than she already has in her field. She's at the top of her game.
She could keep going if she wanted to.
She could keep going.
But she's decided
she
there
said,
are
"You
other
know
things
what?
in life.
There are more important things in life than just chasing the dollars. And good on her. If she's made enough
Yeah.
and she's
so
happy.
maybe this deal with Naomi Osaka, maybe it's not just about her and what she's going through. Maybe the people that are managing her are putting too much pressure on her. Like they should be saying
Doesn't
to her,
matter
like
who's putting the pressure on.
she's probably got 50 people around her
Yeah.
who are helping to manage her. And if she
helping, in inverted commas.
helping, that's right. And
'Cause
it's
she
inverted
is
commas.
she is the meal ticket for
That's
a lot
right.
of people.
She's their
But if
income
that's
earner.
But if that's what's getting to you, regardless of what the pressure is,
Yeah.
doesn't matter what job you have, doesn't matter what vocation you have, I'm sure, right, as menial a job as you and I may believe it to be, right, but I'm sure there would be petrol station attendants who get home after a shift and go, oh my
Right.
God, what a day.
And
it's
I've got to
like
go to
this.
another
And
job.
could you believe it? I've got to, make sure the milk's topped up in the coffee machine while I'm keeping an eye on the guy filling his car to make sure he doesn't drive off, but I've got to make sure I'm back behind the register by the time he walks in.
And then
The-
my
the
wife calls me
coordination
because
and-
the baby's crying and I've got to go home soon and
Yep.
I'm only going to get 3 hours sleep tonight.
Yeah,
and
before I go off and do my telemarketing job or, whatever it is, everybody
Everyone
has
has
pressure.
Yep.
Right? Everybody has pressure. When was the last time you broke down whilst you were being mashkiach?
What time is it? I got actually, you know what? This afternoon,
that's a
I
job.
got up too early
You've
this
got
morning,
pressures.
and I was actually shaking a little bit on my way home because it was a combination of a bit too much tiredness, and maybe I could have possibly had something else to eat that might have helped as well. It was all a bit too
Yep.
much today
Yeah,
by
yeah.
the end of the day.
But you understand, what I'm saying is I understand you've got a job that's got pressures. You've got to make sure things are done according to the letter of the law.
Yeah.
Everybody everyone except me, has pressure.
And there are people who can
Has
handle
pressures.
it. Like I hear that.
And there are some people who can't handle it. I mean, how many
Yeah.
people have been through universities, how many people have been through medical schools just to discover that as much as they wanted
Yeah.
to be a surgeon or whatever,
Yeah.
they just couldn't deal with it? How many people have gone and to study law and given the whole thing away because that
comedian.
because that whole corporate world, that whole environment
That's what I'm hoping for Elisa.
does the head in that Elisa becomes a comedian.
That's right. Well,
You know what? Out of all
she's
of-
doing the prerequisite. She's doing
She's
law.
doing law. Although, I don't know, out of all of your progeny, I reckon Tamara would be the one.
To do what?
Comedy.
I'm not sure. She's too cute.
But you know what? She's feisty. Like, she just doesn't take crap from anyone.
Yeah, she does look at you straight in the face, and she could. She's pretty deadpan.
And she just delivers the line.
Yeah.
You know, she's just got to learn a bit about timing, and I'm telling you, she's the next Joan Rivers.
Oh, I'm not. You know,
can we talk?
People have this fascination with Joan Rivers. When I was growing up, we were growing up. Like, there was Joan Rivers had a very big following.
Yeah, well, she was very much female comedian du jour.
Right, and she took on the seat sometimes in Johnny Carson's show and all that sort of thing. But my family, she was niched.
Really?
Yeah, we didn't really. I mean, we weren't big into that sort of stuff anyway.
Yeah.
But that sort of comedian sort of thing, that wasn't
she was very much like late 80s, early 90s.
No, 70s.
70s, Joan Rivers?
Joan Rivers? Yeah. Late 60s, early mid, late 70s.
She came after like Phyllis Diller.
Oh, for sure.
You know, Phyllis Diller was much early. Phyllis Diller was more like a contemporary of Lucille Ball.
Oh, that's a good question.
Whereas, like, who else was around when Joan Rivers was around in terms of female comics, like heavy-hitting female comics?
I was looking at some YouTubes of Joan Rivers just this week with on the Johnny Carson show, and I actually wanted to compare how she looked in the early 70s to like the early and mid 80s, and she actually looked younger in the 70s and in the early 80s than she did in the early 70s from the facelifts. I think
that's amazing what you can do with facelifts. Right. But you know, talking about female comedians, we're getting way off topic.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No. You know, anyone that can be clever and witty and help us look at life from a different angle, I think is a good thing. And as I've said for many years, comedy is truth in its purest form. But excuse me for 1 second.
So you liked her. So you were a bit of a follower.
I wasn't a follower, but if there was something on, I'd watch it and enjoy it.
Good conversation. Susie says it's good conversation about job stress. By the way, are you stressed in your job?
Do I have a job?
Yeah, you do.
No.
But
I'm not
you're
stressed.
Relishing to get cars out and get your jobs done, and it's just
but they're
too
my
much
cars,
sometimes.
so it doesn't matter.
No. Haven't you got stuff waiting around to do?
Yeah, but like the customers we deal with, they know they've got alta chalupas.
Yeah.
And if you'd like to talk to us about cars or female comics or anything else, or the stress you have on your job, give us a call on 906 920 we're not a regular mechanic shop. We're not a regular panel shop. We have people bring cars to us, and then they come back 6 months later, and there it is parked on its side, and we still haven't touched it. And they go, "Oh, when do you think you're going to get to it?" It's like, well, you see that one there, and that one there, and that one there. Yeah, when those three are gone, then we're going to start on yours. Oh,
so
how long are those three?
Frustrating and annoying.
No, I don't get frustrated and annoyed at all. It's the clients who get frustrated and annoyed. And on the training side of things, I've got that down to such a routine that there's just no stress.
The routine of putting people off. Not in a good way.
No.
I mean, like saying it's going to be another month, 2 months. No. 6 months.
That's with the car work, but with the training side of things, you know, it's just whatever. There's no stress for me.
Yeah, how good is that, by the way? My job is similar. Yeah. Like they tell you, just turn up, rock up, and do your job, which we're good at, we're expert at. You know they say, why are we paying you? Let's just say, for example, why are we paying so much? Well, you're paying for the last 10 or 20 years that I've been studying to make it look so easy.
Easy. That's exactly it. I mean, the biggest stress I have with the training is deciding, well, do I send all the paperwork off today from the course I did yesterday, or do I just hold on to it till next week because I've got another 2 courses on next week, so I'll just put all the paperwork in the one bag. And
that's your biggest stress.
This is the biggest stress I have. So, you know, I've got it pretty good. So I have
you got a
got a
frog in your
tickle
throat?
in my throat. It is driving me up the
look,
frickin' wall.
look, Coke.
No, but we have on the laminated paper. That's why before the show I went outside and downed half a bottle.
No, they
but on
said
the
you're allowed
laminated,
drinks with lids on.
oh, we're allowed drinks, but how do I get it out of the? I can't get it out of the bottle if the lid's on. But I got to do something. This is just driving me insane. I'm about to end up in tears.
There's I want to talk, Harry, about that little topic that you raised just before we went on air. I'd like to continue that because this is going to be a minefield, even though hopefully it won't take us too long. You mentioned Chabad houses. I have a great affinity for Chabad houses. We, in many ways, Chabad is, it's been certainly a big part of my life. And in Israel, it helped our family with the Baal Teshuvas that we are today. But now it's getting to be here in Melbourne that there's a Chabad house on every corner.
I think we're getting to the point where we're hitting what's the phrase I'm looking for? Market saturation.
Yes, it is. That's exactly what it is. Market
saturation. It's getting to the point now where it's like cafes on High Street in Armadale.
Yep.
If another one opens, surely one of the existing ones has to close.
It dilutes.
There's only so many people
Right.
who can drink so much coffee before the market says there's just an oversupply.
Yep.
And I'm like, do we need another Chabad house anywhere in the Schmalzbelt?
Right.
Within a 10-kilometre
Hang on,
radius of the Schmalzbelt.
don't ask that question, because as soon as we get people answering that question, we need one here, all of a sudden you're going to get another one.
906-920-887.
Yes,
Give
tell
us
us
a call.
your take.
Like, I can understand if some real brave bocher
East Caulfield.
says to...
Over near Caulfield. Oh, no, that's Glenara. They've already got one.
But I'm... I would be more than impressed if some brave bocher opened one up in Tarneit.
Right. Tarneit, is that
Like, I know there's one...
Is that Darebin Way? Where's that?
Yeah.
Is that
So
eastern
northwest,
suburbs?
Northwestern.
Northwest.
Northwest.
That's Northwest.
Broadmeadows there's whole parts of our city that are northwest of where you and I live.
I talk to so many young Chabadniks, young Chabad Light, whatever they are, and they desperately want to live in the country. They desperately want to get out of their little apartment in St Kilda East and get out with their family to a property that they could buy with the same amount of money or less.
Every time we go bush, I always say, because we've done a number of trips where we go through Mildura, and we absolutely love Mildura. It's a beautiful town.
It is a lovely town. It's a beautiful
town.
Yep.
The weather's awesome all year round.
Those townships all around there are all lovely.
Yeah, you got, is it Wentworth on the New South Wales side, and I can't remember what's on the South Australian side, but we've done that loop. But the big difference with Mildura is because Mildura is an irrigated town, it's always green and lush and beautiful and whatever. And I've been saying to my wife for many years, if you can find 9 other families, one of which has to have a rabbi, I'll emigrate to Mildura.
You've said that.
I've said that.
Well, Broken Hill had a shul.
Broken Hill had a shul that was operational until the 1960s.
Wow, 1960s. That's amazing.
I found it very ironic. Well, we've actually been to the shul in Broken Hill. It is now the headquarters of the Broken Hill Historical Society.
That'd be amazing.
So
I'd like to go.
I think it'd be great if we, just shot up there to do a Shabbos in.
We'll take a Torah with us.
Yeah. So the Bimmer, the Aron, everything.
Is there an Aron?
Yeah. Everything's all still there. In fact, Ron took a replica Torah just to have sitting in the Aron, so when people come and have a look, they can see it. But the point I'm getting at is irony of ironies. So I see on the tourist map, there's the Broken Hill Synagogue. I've got to go have a look at that. So we get there, it's all closed. I call the number to say I'm standing outside the shul. I want to have a look.
It's Father Peter.
We're terribly sorry. The shul's closed for the Christmas holidays. Quote unquote. Quote unquote.
So can I say something controversial yet, or have you finished your diatribe?
Yeah, go for it.
Gutless wonders.
Who?
The modern day young Chabad kids, couples, are gutless wonders.
How so?
How so?
I mean, that's a big call.
Yep.
You know, like it's one thing. You know what? It's one thing for me to say.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
I know.
Boys are boys, girls are girls, and boys will never be girls, and girls will never be boys.
I'm putting my heart on my sleeve here.
Right. You've just called a whole bunch of our own mob.
Yep.
So explain yourself.
Kol hakavod to the ones who have done Canberra, even if they've just given it a go. Canberra, Cairns, even Surface, whatever. You know, all those other, and I think Newcastle now, kol hakavod to them. But there are young... We know that not so long ago, the Rebbe in Brooklyn, in Crown Heights, he sent off shlichim around the world and set up... He said to someone, go and set up a Chabad house. Go and set up a synagogue.
Yep.
A community in Melbourne, Australia.
Yep.
Right? That we can go to, that we can have like a Chabad minhagim there, even though there are Jews, plenty of Jews there already, but you go. Because it's the other side of the world. Where's there anyone doing that these days? And I'm happy to take a phone call and hear someone say, well, we're doing it here and we're doing it. No, you're not. There are several young Chabad people here in Melbourne.
Yep.
They're rabbis, all in one hit. They're rabbis. They're shochtim. They can read from the Torah. They've got everything going for them. What do I want to do? I'll sit back. I've got a good life here. We've got the school. I can do everything. I can run an entire community, but I'm going to sit back and take it easy. And I'm telling you, the Rebbe would not be happy about that. Get out there. Do something and make the world a better place instead of sitting in your frickin' Dalet Amod in Melbourne, in your little comfortable makom, and get out there and do something.
What? I'm sure those people are just sitting around with their thumbs up their tochuses, waiting for something to happen.
They have to make it happen. They're good at doing that.
Yeah, but it's also a matter of you may as well do what's easy first before you go off and do what's hard.
And then you've got plenty of the young people, the young Chabad people and other religious, Jewish religious, that's not Chabad aligned, that say, I want to live in the country. Fine, get a rabbi, one of these young rabbis, and move out to the country. Do it. You're going to spend 500, 600, 700,000 on an apartment, on a 3-bedroom apartment in Eastern Kilda. Bloody get yourselves together, a group of you, and get a rabbi and move out and open a little abattoir or something. Get some cows and do a little dairy. So I'm pretty peed off about it.
Okay, so this is your way of inspiring people to become farmers.
Well, what are they doing with themselves now?
Oh, I don't know. Well, have a look.
Who's inspiring them now?
You know, you've got kids now who are at that age. They're starting to get married and settle down and whatever else.
Yeah.
Or what is your new son-in-law, right? He's a landscaper, yeah?
Yeah, but these people, it's their hashkafa to do this. They are bred to do this. The kind of Yidden that my family and your family come from, we're community Yidden. These people go out and actually establish communities.
Yeah, but who do you establish? You know, how long are you prepared to sit out in, the never, waiting for more Yidden to arrive?
Well, it's not going to happen if
the
you
one
don't
big
do
issue,
it.
One of the issues I have is that there's only ever going to be a certain percentage of the population that is interested in being part of a kehillah.
Okay.
And we find more and more and more, these guys.
Hang on, when you say kehillah, do you also mean just part of a Jewish community. They want to live within a Jewish community
No,
as
they
well.
want to be part of a kehillah.
Okay, on a
Right?
regular daily basis.
On a
you mean.
regular daily,
Okay.
weekly basis, whatever it is. And now there's so many of them.
Yeah.
They're just cutting each other's lunch.
Yeah.
Along with
they
the
are.
like
And this
now,
is
like
part of the
now,
problem.
There is
They all want to do it, and they think they're doing something great, but they're all living in each other's pockets.
So now there is Chabad St Kilda, right? Now, if I was Rabbi Glassman, I'd be going off my freaking nut. Because one of my own
Is right there.
has come into my territory.
Yep.
It's like, here I've paid $2.5 million for a McDonald's franchise, and then the company's just gone and sold the franchise to put into the shop next door.
Right.
What the hell, man?
Yeah.
You're listening to J-Air, Jewish Australian Internet Radio. J-Air broadcasts to Caulfield and nearby suburbs on 87.8 FM, as well as streaming online at j-air, that's air.com.au.
Okay, so put Susie Moses down for a move to Mildura.
Yes.
Susie with it. So I didn't know Susie
should have a move to Mildura.
worked in Bendigo for 2 years.
What does she say there?
I lived in Bendigo for 2 years working at the Bendigo Bank. The Goldfields congregation was great. Now, the Goldfields congregation, now I know there's a shul in Ballarat, and I've already spoken and mentioned to my boys in the Chevra, along with Dov, to go up there and do a Shabbaton, because Zach's living in Ballarat. My younger son's living in Ballarat at the moment. We thought it'd be nice, go up there and put on a big Shabbos for everyone.
Yeah.
But the Goldfields...
What did she write? The Goldfields
the
congregation
Goldfields
was great.
congregation was great.
Mildura's a
So-
great idea. Mildura's a great idea. Harry
I told you, put Susie down for one.
has an airport.
But I want to know the
straight to
Goldfields.
Melbourne.
So, was there a congregation in Bendigo? Was there an active congregation of Yids in Bendigo?
There would have been. And what does Adi write there?
Well said. Chabad is the franchise.
What does that mean?
I
What's he
mean,
referring
Chabad
to?
is the overarching, it's like McDonald's Systems is the franchisor, and the people that own the shops are the franchisees. These guys who open up the Chabad houses are the franchisees. Thank you very much for listening, both Addie and Susie.
So now I think
if
we
anybody
should-
else would like to talk to us about anything, as you can see, we really have no structure for this evening whatsoever. Give us a call on 9069 2087.
Harry, I think it's time we finally started tonight's program and talk about some of the things that we actually we wrote down and said. Look, we talked about working hard in the winery in the Purim. Oh,
Women
okay.
swimming?
No,
You wanna talk about women swimming?
no.
Oh, no.
What do I want to talk about?
You want a boat. Rabbi Pesach wants a boat.
Okay, so listen. The winery is near Port Arlington. What's that? What are we doing? What are you playing? Harry's going to
I don't-
play something.
I don't even know if this is
What
working.
is it? The Love Boat?
Darling, it's better down where it's wetter.
Take it from me.
What's that?
Under the Sea from The Little Mermaid. Because if you buy a boat, that's where you're going to end up, I'm sure.
Well, apparently, when the Yidden were crossing the Red Sea, it was actually through tunnels under the sea. Have you ever heard that?
All I know is it wasn't in boats.
Right.
We are not a boating people. We are referred to as
Well,
Red
look,
Sea
Port
pedestrians
Arlington
for a reason.
is 30 kilometres from St Kilda Beach, right? And now I have to drive like 100 kilometres to Geelong or whatever it
Right.
is, and then 30 kilometres back from Geelong, and it takes an hour and a half or an hour and 45, whatever it is.
Yes, how
I
much
should
easier...
just be able to get on a boat and
How
go
much
across.
easier would life be if I just launched my jet ski, donned my wetsuit, and voom?
That's right. Thank you.
how many-
Now you understand. Thank you.
How
Have another drink.
many times a week are you going to this Fakakta winery?
So I spoke to one of our friends who actually has owned boats, and he says,
There's only 2 good days to own a boat. The
What-
day you buy it and the day you sell it.
It's like the Lotus. Right. Right. Yeah.
And they used one of them in a James Bond movie and turned it into a submarine. So there's the
I'm going to tell you what our friend said. Have a cough. Have a huck. Oh, that's better. No? Do you want me to come and sleep? Maybe it's COVID.
It's not COVID.
He said no.
Yes.
Gary said no.
Always take it from someone who knows.
Yeah. And I spoke to someone at the Royal Melbourne
But maybe you
Yacht
could rent
Club,
his.
and you know what she said?
No. Yeah. Boats are...
But more to the point, Harry, isn't it funny how if you've got like a tiny little bit of
extra stuff you got to buy when you get a boat.
Yeah.
You know,
and the trailer.
It's the cravat. It's the blazer. It's the white shoes.
You think I'm going looking like... Who would I look like? I don't even know who I would look like. Like the commander.
You'd be more like the skipper.
Yeah, I
Can
would
you imagine the two of us on a boat?
More like Gilligan.
I'd be the big fat Gilligan character.
See, now you've got the idea.
Hey,
you
little
see,
buddy.
what would you be? No, isn't it funny?
What would
Harry?
I be? I'd be really annoyed if there wasn't a ginger on the boat.
Right.
Even a Marianne.
That's why we'd bring our wives along with us.
Yeah. You know what? Tam and I were only talking last night. We're thinking about taking a bit of a trip in August because I'm sure I'll have one of my vehicles working by then. And she wants to go to Fraser Island to see the whales. Now, she was also saying... Yeah, because the humpback whales come past Fraser Island around about between July and September.
You never told me that.
Sorry?
You didn't mention that when you invited us along.
Okay, so if you change your mind, feel free. The island will still be there.
Hang on, you're not referring to our wives and the whales in the one sentence. Like, no, don't go
No.
there. Don't go there, Harry.
I'm just sharing our last whale watching experience was an absolute disaster because it involved a boat.
Oh, no.
Yes, we didn't see. The only thing I saw was the inside. You know the paper bags with the foil lining in them that they put roast chickens in. Right. That's all. I just saw the inside of one of those bags for like 2.5 hours on this Fakakta boat, and that's got to be well over 10 years ago, and I have not been on a boat since.
Okay, the point I was really getting at is that isn't it funny how once you get a tiny, just like a minuscule amount of disposable income, just a little bit, right? You think to yourself, what can I buy? I'm going to go to like Anaconda and see what they've got, or I'm going to go to, what's your shop that you go to? 4x4 accessories and see what I can buy.
Although I just finished doing the latest of our activity statements.
Yeah.
Because God forbid to lodge on time. Tab on the 28th. Have you done the BAS yet? No. Why not? Well, because the government wants me to. So I finished doing it yesterday. I could not believe the number of invoices and receipts I've had over the last week. I've spent an absolute milliontig between Total Tools and Sydney Tools.
Luckily, your wife doesn't listen to this program.
Anyone would think I had a habit. Like anyone would think.
This is what I'm talking about. You must have a little pot of gold somewhere, Harry, you're just, I can take one of those.
No,
I can use it for something useful.
But it's amazing. I've had to buy all this stuff over the last 3 months that somehow I've managed to live my last 48 years without.
Are we still live streaming?
I think we're still live streaming. I think it's just because I paused that screen to play on the thing, because I've never used the general PC thing before.
So I think it's one of the biggest dangers.
Yeah,
if you get disposable income, put it into a savings account.
Put it into a savings account, put it into wherever. I mean, that was one of the biggest issues Tam had with me. We held on to this Fakakta little property for years and years and years because she was convinced the day we sold, the day we had settlement, I would have a shed full of cars and motorbikes and whatever else.
You have to do something
I finally put it
with the money.
So she was asking me about what was going on with it all and whatever a couple of days ago, and I said, "Look, I'm sure I showed you there's a spreadsheet there." Anyway, so I emailed it to her from the office today.
We're going to go machine gun on the rest of the topics tonight.
Okay, and she's like, "But how do you know there's going to be that amount of money? Is it, well, because these companies have sent you emails as well. That's just how it works, dear.
Apparently.
Road stuff. All right, what's next?
All right, you ready?
Yep.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, Leah Thomas winning another Verstinkene medal.
William Thomas.
William Thomas, who's now Leah. That's the middle part of William.
Yeah.
And, mate, if I have to preface
No
what
Willy
you are with the word trans, you are not that thing.
That's right.
And therefore, you should not be competing in that thing against women who have had it hard forever anyway.
He's just no Willy William.
Right.
Yep.
Oh, Willy, I am.
No,
Right.
no Willy William.
What do you think? And
what do I
DeSantis, did you
think?
see what DeSantis did? He actually made some sort of, in Florida, he made some sort of law or something and said, no, this person here is the winner and up yours because you're not a real female. This person has been getting up early, has been doing everything as a female.
Now, before we get another complaint that accuses us of being incompassionate or callous
And us not giving us stuff.
and us not giving us stuff, before we get that complaint,
Because that's our opinion.
let me say, anybody that wants to go through this world living as something they were never born into this world as,
Gesundheit!
Zeimergesinn.
Zeimergesinnt!
Right? Off you go.
We don't necessarily support you, but you can do it. We support
Off
you
you
doing
go.
whatever you want.
However,
As long as it doesn't affect us. Is
however,
that true? As long as it doesn't
as long
affect
as
us?
it doesn't affect us, and
It doesn't hurt anyone.
and instead of insisting everyone just accepts everything you do, you have to accept that we find it a little unusual. On
I
top
find
of
it
that,
unusual. I'm not
on
sure
top
about
of
that.
on top of that,
We
right?
Can we tolerate it?
On top of that,
We can tolerate
I
it.
can tolerate it, sure, because the compassionate human being that I
I
am
can even accept it.
says, you know, unfortunately, this person
And are we-
struggles
yeah.
with their
And are we
place
going
in
to
this
respect
world.
them, Harry?
And we need to have that. This is not my point. The point I'm
Are we
getting
going to
at,
respect them?
listen,
But we're going to respect
we'll
them.
respect them.
We'll respect them.
We'll respect them. But my point is this. If you could show me one example where
Yeah.
a woman has decided to spend the rest of her life portraying the image of a man to the world, has managed to compete. Excuse
You know what you need? You need to blow your nose.
No, I need a lozenge. But has managed to compete and be competitive
Yeah.
in a male sport.
Open up.
In a male sport, then maybe the argument would have some credence,
Right.
right? But to allow men of any sort, biological, trans, simply confused or otherwise,
Why are we going on about this?
into female sport,
We've made it clear.
is just wrong.
Okay. Okay. Next topic.
Well, you wanted to talk about it. It's
I
on your-
did.
It's on your
I
run
told
sheet.
you it's machine
Okay,
gun. It's
good.
the last 15 minutes. All
Next.
right. Next.
Next.
And sorry, just to add on to that. Apparently now you're a radical feminist if you say that women are not getting a fair go. You're a radical feminist.
Where are women not getting a
And-
fair go?
Like in these kinds of things, in these tournaments where there are trans people competing against.
Well, this is
fully
the problem.
biological.
But this is the problem feminists have.
But now the radical feminist. Now you're a radical feminist if you stick up for women.
Yeah.
Don't
That's
you
a
get
radical-
it?
I sort of, kind of do. But this is...
A feminist should be saying.
But this is why
but
we've been
this
saying for years,
person's a
it will, get,
woman.
it will get to the point where the left will just consume itself.
Yeah.
Next.
Now you put on a post about Jordan Peterson, who I believe is coming to Australia
Yes.
in a few months' time.
Yes.
Maybe October, November, whatever. And he wrote, "Never back down, never apologise."
Never back down, never surrender. Oh,
And-
sorry, that was Galaxy Quest.
And so apparently Disney at the moment, in America, of course, are being hit by strikes from within their company because Disney, the chief executive of Disney, didn't speak out against a bill that was being passed, something called the Don't Say Gay bill or whatever it was called in America. Anyway, whatever it was, this is what the media called it.
Gay.
Whatever it was, they didn't speak out against it. And like all Disney sort of wants to do is just say, hey, we're politically neutral. We make kids
kiddies entertainment.
Yeah, we've got
Marvel movies.
And we don't want to get politically embroiled. And apparently
but then they're
now,
also making that sex tape thing about Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee.
Did they?
That's on Disney. That's streaming on. Yeah, it's a Disney.
All right.
Thing.
And apparently now in the Buzz Lightyear cartoon movie coming out. Sorry, we're not allowed to call it a cartoon. Pixar movie. Apparently there's going to be a lesbian kiss. They're going to make sure there's a lesbian kiss.
Fantastic.
What the hell?
What? Because
who cares?
No, because that's what toys do when they're in the cupboard.
Apparently
when they're in the closet.
This is what you have to do in this day and age in order to appease everyone.
It is forced diversity, I think, is the term that is being coined around the place. You know, and a lot of people are bringing it up. You know, if you have a look at a lot of our ads, on TV, and the mixtures of people and combinations of people you're seeing, it does appear to be very forced because it's not representing the general population.
Well, I don't watch all that, but you must see all that.
Well, because because if you use the streaming services from the networks, they chuck ads into their programs that they stream.
Yep. Right.
So,
so there's a lot of that going on. Maybe too much of that going on.
Kehilat.Zahav hosts events for Jews in Bendigo and the Central Goldfields.
Who's that?
Kehilat.Zahav.
Zahav.
Yeah.
Goldfield.
Yeah, the Kehillah of the Goldfields.
That's cute.
That is.
Who wrote that?
Addy.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
We'll have to find out more about that.
Hold on. Sorry, Buddha in Castlemaine.
Harry's just reading out.
When I lived there, the rabbis from TBI came up, and we had Rosh Hashanah at Bud's in Castlemaine. Sorry, Buddha in Castlemaine. From TBI. Right. Okay.
Well, that's cool.
Yep.
They're doing something out in
They're doing some outreach work.
Okay, next.
Yep.
Okay.
Come on.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, did you watch his speech to Russia?
Come with me if you want to live.
Did you watch it?
No, I didn't watch it.
I actually bothered to watch it.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
And what did Arnie have to say?
Quick,
get to the chopper.
I'll be back. I won't be back. So I was staggered to see today that a rabbi in Russia, apparently he's the second high rabbi in Russia, he's spoken out against the Nazification in Ukraine. And I think he's only maybe doing it in order to make sure that the Jews in Russia are not, attacked or
coerced.
Maybe
by
not
the
coerced. He's just being protective of his community.
Here's a question. Or here's something that I have these things going on in my brain with this whole Russia incursion into Ukraine.
Yeah.
Now, when you and I interviewed the Schwanz, the official from the Russian embassy, right? Where was that, 4 weeks ago or 5 weeks ago? It was all about what was going on in the northeast corner of the country, how people who were culturally Russian were being persecuted by Ukrainians.
Right. In Donbass.
Yes. Which is northeast, yeah?
East and northeast, yeah.
East and northeast, right. So if that was your concern 4 weeks ago, what the hell are you doing bombing a port in the southwest of the country,
right.
where
What?
you just have no business being. And why isn't anybody? Why aren't there real journalists? You know what? If you're a real journalist, feel free to call us up and tell us why you're not doing your job properly
Do you remember-
on 906-92087
Do you remember-
to explain to me why the Russians are now in places they said they were never going to go.
Do you remember in the Iraq War, Peter Arnett, was it? He was in one of the hotels in Baghdad, and he was reporting for what must have been CNN or whatever.
Yeah, it got blown up.
Did he get? He didn't get blown up. He lived, but he was reporting on the war from the middle of the war zone.
Yeah.
And they had footage and the whole works. It was quite extraordinary.
Yep.
I don't see any of that at the moment actually out of Ukraine.
But it's not about what. I think it's more about what we're not seeing.
I think it's because people don't care that much.
I think it's more what we're not seeing, what we're not hearing, and what we haven't seen and haven't heard. Now, it's one thing for Putin to say, well, I'm going in to save these cultural Russians for Ukrainian Nazis, right?
Yep.
Invoking that phrase just puts a chill up everybody's spine. Although we don't really understand what it means. At the end of the day, the Nazis were simply a political party in Germany starting in the early 1930s, right? With a fascist bent. They were fascists. Forget your final solution, your concentration camps and all that. At the crux of it all, it was a fascist regime, right?
But they chose a perfect scapegoat.
They did choose a perfect scapegoat. Now, if there is any evidence, if there has been any evidence of Ukrainian government-sanctioned death squads, as we've been told, operating in the Donbass area, why has nothing ever been brought before the United Nations before?
Yeah, I think we asked that question to the consul, to the Russian, and he said, "Oh, we brought."
Why has Russia simply turned around to say anybody who is against us is at war with us, as opposed to trying to put together a coalition to fight the evil that they perceive to be in Ukraine?
It's not even a toothless tiger anymore. It's like a nothing. It's actually nothing anymore. The United Nations can't do anything. Their hands are completely tied. Why? Because Russia sits on the bloody Security Council. And every time a resolution comes up about Russia, guess what they do? They veto. They use
their power of veto.
They use it. They're one of the 5 nations that has a permanent seat, and they have automatic right to veto anything they want. Out it goes. And they haven't talked about it at all in the United Nations.
They've done nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing in the United Nations.
It has become a useless, unproductive, pathetic organisation.
The United Nations has been a moribund organisation for decades.
Something needs to happen.
Well,
there needs to be like a real... I kind of have this thing in my mind of there needs to be problem. There needs to be Thunderbirds again. We need to bring back the Thunderbirds.
Yes, Mr. Tracy.
That's right. And Brains needs to be in charge.
The issue is that
Thunderbird
many
2
years
flies
ago,
in, gets rid of the despots and flies out again.
So the United Nations was born out of the League of Nations,
right?
Which was set up by originally Woodrow Wilson.
Okay, the League of Nations, right?
Right, the League of Nations was set up after World War I. We have World War II. They set up the United Nations. Now, back then, each country that was a member state was, even though there was international trade going on, we weren't codependent on any other one economy, right?
Yes.
The world is a very different place today than it was 80 years ago when the United Nations was set up.
Okay.
First things first, right?
Yeah.
The United Nations, I think, only had half the number of member countries as it does now, because now they've allowed all the despotic Northern African, Middle Eastern, West African nations to become members.
And they're all Arab aligned.
And they're all Arab aligned, and
because of the oil.
You know, that's because of oil. But economically, our biggest economies, regardless of whether it's the United States, Australia, most of Europe, the UK, Canada, wherever it is, we've all tipped our economic eggs into the China basket.
Right.
So it's one thing, like they're trying to cut Putin off economically, because the only thing Russia has to offer the world, for the most part, is oil. So if Russia can't sell its oil in a very short space of time, Russia's cash flow drops away to nothing. They can't afford to keep fighting a war.
Yeah, their economy is currently smaller than Florida's.
Yeah. Their economy is about the same size as Australia's, for what I've learned in the last week or so. So Russia you can cut off. What happens? I mean, everyone's concerned, we've got to keep an eye on China, because they could use this as an excuse to invade Taiwan. What are we going to do?
What are we going to do?
How do you cut China off?
Yeah, I think we should talk about it next week. Can we talk about this next week? We'll write it down.
I'm sure we will continue to talk about this for weeks on end.
I've got a question for you.
Okay.
Do we want to do a quick break?
Do a quick break. Okay.
We're always looking for people with an interest in radio, either presenting your own show or being on the technical side. Become a volunteer now. Head to our website at j-air.com.au. Follow the Get Involved link and click on Become a Volunteer Now.
That was quick. The right stuff. Oh, I'm salivating.
Yeah. What are you drinking?
Not my key shoulder. I've had some good ones over the last couple of weeks, actually.
Yeah.
No, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but there are some nice ones around.
Yep.
I'll remember. So, just back
We've got
to
2 minutes left, by the way.
Just back to the Russia question, just for one last, just to finish it off.
Yep.
Where will it end? When will it end? And how will it end? Go. Where?
I got no idea. I have no idea.
All right. So let me ask you this: is it going to go into Poland? Is it going to stop at the border of Poland? Is it going to stop before Kiev or after Kiev? Before Odessa, after Odessa, or stop at Donbass?
They're already at Mariupol. They on day one they shot way over Donbass. Like, it became abundantly clear.
So, hang on, where is it going to end?
I don't know. You'd
go and take a punt.
God willing, the Ukrainians manage to keep them fighting for that long that they can't afford to fight anymore, and the Russians have to retreat.
Okay, completely.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. At the end of the day, Ukraine's a sovereign state.
So
that
how
has to
will
be
it
respected.
End? Okay, so how will it end? Your answer, therefore, is the Russians will just not surrender.
No, retreat. Tail between their legs, off they go.
Okay, and then the last part of it was when?
Again, God willing, sooner rather than later, but who knows?
4 weeks? 8 weeks?
Listen, the Russians weren't even prepared. The Russians weren't even prepared for a conflict that's been going on as long as it has. They thought they'd just walk in and everyone would just go, "Oh, that's it, yeah, put up the white flag." They didn't think they'd get any resistance whatsoever. So we just don't know.
Go on, pick a figure.
If it crosses the western border of Ukraine, the world is in trouble. That's all I know.
But it's not going to get there.
I don't think so.
Okay. So when? Give us a when. Give us a when it's going to end.
This guy's a maniac. Putin, he'll just keep going and going and going until he's got absolutely nothing left.
All right. So I'm going to go with where.
Yep.
I think they'll negotiate on Donbass, and it'll become some sort of questionable territory.
Yep.
Like
Kashmir?
Like Kashmir or occupied territory sort of thing.
Occupied territories where?
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like
Judea Samaria.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But that should be part of the sovereign state of Israel. Why should Donbass be...
no, I'm saying that's how it's going to end up. That's how it's going to end up. Donbass is going to end up like occupied territories or like Kashmir. That's where. I think all of a sudden it's going to dissipate. I think it's just going to dissipate. It'll go out of the news a bit. And we'll hear about we'll stop hearing about it sort of so much, and I reckon it'll be.
Yeah,
by
we're
Easter.
not hearing any reporting on the Saudis bombing the hell out of Yemen.
Yeah, but who cares?
Why should we care more about Ukraine than we do about Yemen?
When I say
at the
end
end of the day,
it's not in the media, so it hasn't got our attention. In this case, this has fully got our attention.
Yes.
So I say by Easter.
Well, because
finish.
the pandemic finished, so we needed some other crisis.
Yeah. All right.
Alrighty.
Oh, we've come to the end.
We have. Yes, we better hurry up.
Pesach's coming up. I'm gonna be covering things soon.
Okay, and I'm going to finish up right here and now because we've got to let Dwayne come on at 10 o'clock with Ital Music 84.
Good luck, Dwayne.
Thank you all very much for listening and watching, and we will see you all next time.
Bye, everyone.